Okay, we're going to take everything that we did earlier in the week from 12-3 and we're going to add or expand a small little section to it. And what that's going to be is us working off of this chart right here. So there's a couple other charts that you had on your last assignment, all right? And if you notice, it goes from sine all the way through cotangent, but they only have certain degrees, and they only have 30, 45, and 60 degrees. So we're going to be working off of just these measurements, all right? And we're going to go through and show you how to come up with the exact value, okay? So you can put all this in the calculator. If you know how to do this in your calculator, and you want to do it with that method, that's fine. Now, without a calculator, we're going to be going over how to do that without a calculator. So, for instance, if you don't see it on the chart, we'll make a note here. Don't see. Whoops. If you don't see the degrees on the chart, you're going to have to add or subtract 180 until you get to that measurement. All right. So for instance, I don't see 135 on here. It just stops. It goes from 30 to 60. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 180 from 135. And I end up with negative 45 degrees, okay? And that's cosine. Now, my answer is going to be negative because I'm taking that negative measurement with me, all right? Now, I'm going to go back up to cosine and land right there where it says the cosine of 45 degrees. And it has square root of 2 over 2. All right. So if you end up, when you add or subtract, if you end up still in the negative, take that negative with you to your answer. All right. Now, just like you did in the previous work, you're going to have to convert this. All right. So when it's in fraction form, you can convert to degrees. All right, it's just so much easier to work with degrees. If you like doing this with radians, that's fine. It's totally up to you. I just think converting to degrees is easier. So we're gonna multiply times 180 over pi, and I'm doing that so I can eliminate my pi's and get it into degrees. So now I have the tangent of 5 times 180 over 6. All right, and if we just multiply that out, and we get 180 times 5 gives us 900 over 6. And if we divide 900 by 6, we get 150 degrees. Okay? So now that we have 150 degrees, we need to figure out what direction we're going to go. So I don't have anything in my tangent box. It's just from 30 to 45 to 60. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 180 from there. And I end up with negative 30 degrees. And that's tangent because it's labeled right there. So the tangent of negative 30 degrees is going to land us right here. Okay? Now, because that's a negative, our answer is going to be negative. And inside of that box of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 3. That's a negative. Adding on to your notes, I'm going to do some examples from your assignment. All right. So the first part of your expansion assignment is going to be just like your first 12-3 assignment, whereas these coordinates here were x and y, and we have x as 6, and we had y as 8, and we needed to find, sorry, it's a bad 8. We're looking to find r. All right, and the way we found r was we just squared x and y, added them together like so. So we said r equals the square root of 6 squared plus 8 squared. When we do the math there, we get r equals the square root of 100 and r equals 10. All right, so once you found those three numbers, you would just go in for sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, and cotangent, and set up your formulas. So I'm going to do a couple examples. I'll do sine. Sine's going to equal y over r. So I've got 8 over 10. And that's going to simplify to 4 over 5. All right. Likewise with, we can do, I'll do the last one, cotangent. Cotangent's x over y, so we just need 6 over 8. And that's going to simplify to 3 over 4. Okay, so you'll continue to do that with the 1, 2, and 3 with the rest of the values for sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. All right, the next section was finding its reference angle. All right, so I'll do the one that's in radians. Of course, we want to convert by multiplying by 180 over pi, so we can get rid of that pi, and we end up with 13 times 180 over 8. And if we do the math right there, 13 times 180 over 8, we end up with 292.5 degrees. All right. Now with this, we can kind of ballpark as long as you're in the right quadrant, okay? But I know that's going to be over here in the 4th quadrant, so probably about right here. All right, it's going to be in between 360 and 270. So when I'm in the 4th quadrant, I need to take 360 and subtract that angle from 360, okay? So I'm going to subtract 292.5 from 360. And I end up with 67.5 degrees, okay, as the reference angle. All right, and the last section of your assignment is going to be just like what we did with the notes. All right, so what I'll do is I'll cover number 7 and number 11. So number 7, we have 135, and I look on tangent, and it's only 30, 45, and 60. So what I'm going to do is subtract 180 from 135. Whoops. Subtracting 180 from 135, and I'm going to end up with a negative number. End up with negative 45. And that's tangent. But I hit a number inside of that box of tangent. I hit 45, okay? So I'm going to take the value of that 45, which is 1. And also remember that it's negative. So we end up with negative 1 for the exact value, okay? Now, just like we've been converting, the big thing to do is multiply by 180 over pi. Again, we're doing that so we can eliminate pi and get us back into degrees. So now we have 5 times 180, which is 900, over 3. Okay, and we're still working with tangent. So once we do 900 divided by 3, I end up with 300. All right, and I'm still kind of outside of that zone of tangent. I need to be in the zone of 30, 45, or 60. So we're going to subtract 180 from it. All right. Now I end up with 120. I'm still not in that zone, so let's subtract another 180. Now I end up with negative 60, and that's tangent. Okay, so I know my answer is going to have to be negative because of that negative there with the tangent in the 60. So I'm going to go up to my key, and the tangent of 60 is the square root of 3. All right, and that is how you find the exact values for the last section of your expansion assignment.